Okay, so let's get into it. We're going to pull back the curtain on the music you stream every single day. And, well, we're going to uncover this hidden world of artists who might not be exactly what they seem.
All right, picture this. You pop open Spotify and you're hunting for that perfect vibe. You find a playlist that just feels like it was made for you. Maybe with a name that's a little out there, maybe even super specific like,
Yep, that is a real playlist title. And while it feels all personal and curated, it's actually part of a massive, really calculated system. And it makes you wonder.
I mean, who are these artists? You know the ones. They have these strange names you've never heard of, and they're filling up these playlists with hundreds of songs. The answer? Well, it's way more complex, and honestly, a lot weirder than you might think.
So, first up, your perfect playlist is strange. We're going to look at how these streaming platforms are using vibes to categorize not just the music, but you, and how the most popular stuff is often designed for when you're not even really listening.
And that brings us to this key idea, functional music. You know exactly what this is. It's the instrumental, ambient, lo-fi beat stuff that's designed to be totally inoffensive, unobtrusive, and just endlessly streamable. It's a huge market, and it's right at the heart of this big debate about how the music industry actually works now.
Which brings us to our second point, saving an industry, not artists. To really get what's going on, we have to rewind back to Spotify's origin story and its big promise to save the music business.
So the promise was simple, save artists from piracy. And hey, in a way, it worked. Streaming absolutely made the global music business profitable again. But the reality is, most of that profit didn't go to the artists. Nope, it flowed right to the major rights holders, the big record labels. And the reason why comes down to a system called the pro rata model.
okay, so here's the thing you really got to understand. Your $10 a month doesn't go to the artists you listen to. Instead, all the money from all the subscribers goes into one giant pot. Then, that pot gets divided up based on who got the most streams overall. It's a system designed to benefit the artists who are already operating on a massive, massive scale.
And the result of this model is pretty stark. You can see it right here. A huge chunk of all that revenue goes straight to the major labels and the superstar artists, leaving a much, much smaller piece of the pie for independent artists, especially those who make music that isn't really designed for that endless background listening.
And this quote just nails it. It comes from a journalist named Liz Pelly, who's been investigating Spotify for nearly a decade. Her work uncovered this massive disconnect between the health of the industry and the reality for musicians, which led her to a very, very strange discovery.
So, part 3, the hunt for fake artists. Yeah, this disconnect sent journalists down a total rabbit hole. They started uncovering this hidden world when they kept hearing rumors about artists who, well, they didn't seem to exist anywhere outside of Spotify.
Now, this wasn't some overnight thing. The investigation kicked off with Pelly's own digging. Then it got fueled by tips from insiders, and it all solidified when she connected with some Swedish journalists who had the receipts, actual copyright documents that proved something pretty incredible was going on.
Just let that sink in for a second. A small handful of composers, using all these fake names, had created this gigantic catalog of music under thousands of different artist profiles. And all of it was being pushed super heavily on Spotify's biggest instrumental playlists. So, how on earth were they doing it?
Which leads us right inside what you could basically call a content farm for music. It turns out this was a whole system for creating music on an absolutely industrial scale.
What Pelly's investigation found was that Spotify has an actual internal team that works with licensing companies to commission this exact type of music. And their internal term for it is fit to content. In other words, they are literally ordering up music specifically designed to fill up these super lucrative functional playlists. And check this out. They basically built a production line. It starts with hiring musicians to just pump out tracks in bulk. Then they give them these anonymous, unsearchable names. These songs then get funneled directly onto Spotify's biggest playlists. But the most staggering part is the speed.
Some of the musicians who were part of this told investigators they were getting paid to produce dozens of new songs. In a single hour. Let me say that again. Dozens of songs in 1 hour. The focus isn't art, it's volume. It's about cranking out as many tracks as humanly possible in the shortest amount of time.
So when you boil it all down, it's a content farm. It's no different from those websites that churn out low-quality articles or clickbait videos. It's a system built from the ground up to maximize plays within Spotify's economic model, and it has some pretty profound consequences for real artists. And this brings us to the high cost of all these clicks, because this story is so much bigger than just Spotify. It's about the immense pressure that all creative people are under in a world that's run by metrics.
I mean, just think about it from a musician's point of view. The number of streams they get doesn't just determine their paycheck. It can literally decide if they get booked for a festival. So they're forced to become social media managers and marketing experts on top of, being artists. And this whole system just devalues music that actually demands you to listen, the very kind of art that can challenge us and inspire us.
And look, this isn't just a music problem, not by a long shot. Writers, journalists, filmmakers, pretty much anyone in a creative industry feels this exact same pressure. Success is being measured less and less by quality or impact, and more by views, likes, and shares. It's a system that optimizes for engagement above literally everything else.
And this quote, it just gets right to the human cost of it all. It's a chore. It completely drains the passion that made people want to create stuff in the first place, forcing them to play a game that has almost nothing to do with their actual craft.
So, it leaves us with a really critical question to think about the next time we hit play. In our endless search for the perfect, frictionless soundtrack for every moment of our lives, are we accidentally building a system that makes it harder for true, challenging, and original art to even survive?